Look around you. What do you see? Maybe you see buildings, cars, other people. But look closer. Look for the flit of a bird in a tree, a squirrel scampering across a lawn, even the quiet presence of a sleeping dog. The animal world is all around us, even in our most urban environments. From the tiniest insects to the largest whales, animals share our planet. They are our neighbours in a very real sense, but they are much more than just that. Animals are essential to the balance of ecosystems across the globe. They are pollinators, keeping our fruits and vegetables growing. They are predators, keeping populations in check. They are prey, providing sustenance for other species. The intricate web of life on Earth relies on the interconnectedness of all living things, and animals are vital threads in that tapestry. Without them, our world would be a far different and far less vibrant place. For many of us, the bond with animals becomes a cornerstone of our lives. Pets hold a unique position in our hearts and homes. They greet us with wagging tails, offering unconditional love. The companionship of animals has numerous benefits for humans. Think of the working animals serving humans. Therapy animals offer comfort and solace. Animals enrich our lives, bringing joy and a deep sense of connection. The relationship between humans and animals is complex and multifaceted. It's a relationship that has evolved over millennia, shaped by our shared history, our cultural values, and our evolving understanding of the natural world. From the earliest cave paintings depicting animals as objects of reverence and awe to the modern-day animal rights movement, our perspectives on animals have undergone significant transformations. Yet one thing remains constant. Our lives are inextricably intertwined with theirs. Animals are essential to our physical and emotional well-being, enriching our lives in countless ways. They connect us to the natural world, reminding us of the beauty, wonder, and fragility of life on Earth. They teach us about empathy, compassion, and the importance of respecting all living creatures. However, the story of our relationship with animals is not always a happy one. While we celebrate the bonds of love and companionship we share with some animals, we must also confront the uncomfortable truth that our treatment of other animals is often far from humane. Millions of animals around the world suffer silently every day, victims of human cruelty, neglect, and exploitation. This dissonance, this stark contrast between our love for some animals and our disregard for others, raises profound ethical questions about our responsibility to the animal kingdom. It compels us to examine our actions, to challenge our assumptions, and to advocate for a more just and compassionate world for all living creatures. The significance of animals extends far beyond their roles as companions or workers. They play a crucial part in maintaining the delicate balance of our planet's ecosystems. From the smallest insects to the largest whales, each species plays a vital role. Consider, for example, the humble bee. These tiny creatures are essential pollinators, or consider the apex predators like wolves or sharks. These creatures regulate prey populations, maintaining ecosystem health. The interconnectedness of all living things is a fundamental principle of ecology. Disrupting this balance threatens entire ecosystems, including our own. It's about safeguarding the intricate web of life that sustains us all. The dark side of our relationship. We must confront the darker side of our relationship with animals. Millions of animals suffer from human-inflicted cruelty, neglect, and exploitation. Factory farms, puppy mills, and the illegal wildlife trade cause immense suffering. Animals are treated as mere commodities, enduring physical and psychological suffering. Millions more are used in painful laboratory experiments. The illegal wildlife trade decimates animal populations, pushing species towards extinction. Section 6. A call for action. The scope of animal suffering can feel overwhelming. It's easy to feel powerless, to believe that one person can't make a difference. But that's simply not true. Every voice raised against animal cruelty has the power to create ripples of change. We can choose to be part of the solution. Knowledge is power, and the more we know, the better equipped we are to make informed decisions and advocate for change. We can support organizations working to protect animals, and perhaps most importantly, we can start with our own actions. Section 7. Our shared responsibility. The responsibility to protect animals rests on all of us. It's a shared responsibility, one that transcends cultural differences, geographic boundaries, and even species lines. We are, after all, animals ourselves, sharing this planet with countless other creatures, each with their own intrinsic value and right to a life free from suffering. It's time to recognize that our treatment of animals is a reflection of our own values, our capacity for empathy, and our commitment to creating a more just and compassionate world. It's time to move beyond apathy and indifference and embrace our role as stewards of the animal kingdom. This is a call to action, an invitation to join a growing movement of people who believe that animals deserve our respect, our compassion, and our protection. It's a call to recognize that our interconnectedness with the animal kingdom is a source of wonder and responsibility. The choices we make today will determine the fate of countless animals and shape the world we leave for future generations. Let's choose kindness, let's choose compassion, let's choose to be a voice for the voiceless. Let's work together to create a world where all creatures, human and animal alike, can live in peace, dignity, and freedom from harm. Animal abuse is a pervasive and often hidden problem, lurking in the shadows of our society. It's easy to go about our daily lives unaware of the suffering inflicted upon millions of animals every day. We may catch glimpses, a stray dog with ribs showing, a news report about a puppy mill bust. But for the most part, animal suffering remains hidden from view, confined to factory farms, laboratory cages, and private homes. This invisibility makes it all the more important to shed light on the issue, to bring animal abuse out of the shadows and into the public consciousness. We must acknowledge the uncomfortable truth that cruelty towards animals is not a rare occurrence, but a widespread problem with far-reaching consequences. It's a problem that demands our attention, our empathy, and our action. Animal abuse takes many forms, from deliberate acts of cruelty to unintentional neglect. It encompasses a wide range of behaviors, from physical violence and confinement to emotional deprivation and exploitation. Whether driven by malice, ignorance, or greed, animal abuse is never acceptable and always has devastating consequences for the animals involved. Understanding the various forms of animal abuse is crucial for recognizing the signs, responding effectively, and ultimately preventing further suffering. By shining a light on these dark corners of our society, we can begin to dismantle the systems that perpetuate animal abuse and create a world where all creatures are treated with the respect and compassion they deserve. While acts of overt cruelty rightly evoke outrage, neglect, often less visible, can be just as deadly. It's the failure to provide basic necessities: food, water, shelter, and care. Imagine a dog chained up day after day with no access to fresh water or shelter. Or a cat abandoned in an empty apartment, left to fend for itself. These animals suffer silently, their lives slowly draining away. Neglect can manifest in many ways. It can be a slow death from starvation or untreated illness. The consequences are devastating, leaving animals vulnerable to disease and distress. Neglect often goes unnoticed, hidden behind closed doors. Neighbors may be unaware of the suffering next door. That's why it's crucial to be vigilant and educate ourselves. Be prepared to take action when an animal is in need. Physical abuse is perhaps the most recognizable form of animal cruelty. It causes physical pain, suffering, or injury to an animal. This can range from beating and kicking to stabbing and shooting. The methods of abuse are as varied as they are cruel. Physical scars, broken bones, lacerations, burns are stark reminders of pain. But the unseen wounds, the psychological trauma, are no less real. Animals may develop behavioral problems, become fearful, or exhibit aggression. The case of Puppy Doe, a pit bull mix found abandoned in 2013, shook the nation. The dog had been starved, beaten, burned and dismembered while still alive. The case sparked outrage and grief, highlighting the need for stronger laws. Section 4. Exploitation, profiting from pain. Animal exploitation encompasses a wide range of practices where animals are used for human profit or entertainment, often with little regard for their welfare. This category includes industries such as factory farming, puppy mills, animal testing, and the use of animals in circuses, rodeos, and other forms of entertainment. In these situations, animals are treated as commodities, their lives valued only for the economic benefit they provide. Their physical and emotional needs are often ignored, their natural behaviors stifled, and their lives cut tragically short in the name of profit. Consider the plight of animals raised for their fur. Confined to cramped, filthy cages on fur farms, these animals endure a life of deprivation and suffering. They are denied the opportunity to engage in natural behaviors such as digging, swimming, or socializing, and they are often killed in cruel and inhumane ways, all for the sake of fashion. Or consider the use of animals in tourism. Elephants forced to carry tourists on their backs, dolphins confined to cramped tanks for human amusement, tigers exploited for photo opportunities. These animals are often denied basic necessities, subjected to harsh training methods and deprived of their natural social structures. Their suffering is hidden behind a veneer of entertainment, masked by the smiles of tourists and the profits generated. Section 5. Factory farms, a sea of suffering. Factory farming is a system of large-scale, industrialized animal production. The consequences for animal welfare are devastating. Billions of animals each year are confined to cramped, unsanitary conditions. Imagine a life spent entirely indoors, confined to a space so small you can barely turn around. This is the reality for billions of animals trapped in factory farms around the world. These animals are treated as mere commodities, their lives reduced to units of production. The suffering inflicted on animals in factory farms is immense and systemic. At the end of their short lives, they face the trauma of transport and slaughter. Section 6. Puppy mills, breeding grounds for cruelty. The image of a playful puppy, bright-eyed and full of life, is often used to evoke feelings of warmth and joy. But behind the adorable facade of the pet trade lurks a dark reality. Puppy mills, breeding facilities that prioritize profit over the well-being of animals. Driven by greed, puppy mill operators treat dogs as nothing more than breeding machines, churning out litter after litter with little regard for the health or genetic well-being of the animals. Female dogs are subjected to repeated forced breeding cycles, their bodies depleted, their spirits broken. Puppies born into these conditions are often plagued with health problems, genetic defects, infectious diseases, and behavioral issues stemming from a lack of socialization and proper care. They are separated from their mothers far too young, crammed into tiny cages, and transported long distances in inhumane conditions, all to be sold in pet stores or online to unsuspecting buyers. The cycle of cruelty continues as consumers, unaware of the suffering behind their new pet's cute face, unknowingly support an industry that thrives on animal abuse. Breaking this cycle requires educating the public about the horrors of puppy mills, promoting adoption from shelters and rescue organizations, and advocating for stricter regulations on breeding and the sale of animals. Section 7. Entertainment at a cost. The use of animals for entertainment is often justified as a harmless tradition. However, the reality for the animals involved is often far from entertaining. They are subjected to confinement, deprivation, and harsh training methods. Consider the plight of elephants in circuses. These intelligent animals are forced to perform unnatural tricks. They endure long hours chained, deprived of space to roam. The toll on these creatures is immense. Orcas, apex predators, roam vast distances in the wild, confined to tanks They are denied natural behaviors. The stress of captivity manifests in physical and psychological problems. The use of animals for entertainment raises ethical questions. The growing movement to phase out animals in entertainment reflects a shift in societal values. Section 8. The wildlife trade decimating species. The illegal wildlife trade is a multi-billion-dollar industry driven by greed and demand. It is pushing countless species towards extinction. From elephants poached for ivory to tigers hunted for skins, from pangolins trafficked for scales to parrots captured for the pet trade, the illegal wildlife trade operates in the shadows, decimating animal populations and ecosystems. The methods used are often brutal. Animals are trapped, snared or poisoned and crammed into small cages, deprived of food, water and ventilation, transported under horrific conditions. The demand for exotic pets drives the illegal wildlife trade. People are drawn to owning rare animals, unaware of the suffering involved. Many exotic pets are ill-suited to human homes, requiring specialized care and environments. Combating the trade requires law enforcement, reducing demand, and providing alternative livelihoods. It also requires raising public awareness and promoting responsible tourism. A shared planet, a shared responsibility. Why protect animals? It's not just sentimentality, it's an ethical question about our values and responsibilities. We share this planet with diverse life forms, each with intrinsic value. Our shared existence means we have a profound responsibility to be stewards of the natural world. Humans once saw themselves as separate and superior. This view justified exploiting animals, often ignoring their suffering. As our understanding evolves, so must our ethics. We are part of a complex web of life. Animals are sentient beings capable of emotions. This demands a reassessment of our relationship with animals. What are our ethical obligations to them? What responsibilities do we have to protect them? What kind of world do we want for future generations? We must shift from an anthropocentric view to one recognizing the value of all life. Acknowledge our shared planet and responsibility. Section 2. The moral imperative. Animals are sentient beings capable of experiencing emotions like pain, fear, joy, and grief. We should extend compassion and protection to animals, just as we do to humans. To do otherwise is moral hypocrisy. Philosophers like Pythagoras and Bentham argued for the moral status of animals. The principle of minimizing suffering compels us to avoid causing harm. The moral imperative is about recognizing animals' inherent worth and treating them with compassion. Section 3. Recognizing sentience. For far too long, the question of animal sentience, their ability to experience feelings and sensations, has been met with skepticism and even outright denial. However, the scientific evidence overwhelmingly supports the conclusion that animals are indeed sentient beings. They feel pain, fear, joy, and grief just as we do, albeit expressed in ways specific to their species. Studies have shown that animals possess the same neurological structures responsible for processing emotions in humans. They exhibit physiological responses to pain and stress, increased heart rate, rapid breathing, release of stress hormones that are indistinguishable from those in humans. They form strong social bonds, exhibit complex communication patterns, and engage in playful behavior that suggests a capacity for joy and enjoyment. The mounting evidence of animal sentience has profound ethical implications. If we accept that animals are capable of experiencing a wide range of emotions, including suffering, then we are morally obligated to take their well-being into account in our interactions with them. We can no longer justify inflicting pain and suffering on animals simply because they are different from us or because they cannot articulate their experiences in ways we understand. Recognizing animal sentience is not about anthropomorphizing them or projecting human emotions onto them. It's about acknowledging the scientific evidence, listening to what animals are telling us through their behavior, and expanding our circle of compassion to include all those who share this planet with us. Section 4, Empathy, the bridge between us. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of another, is a defining characteristic of our humanity. It is the bridge that allows us to connect with others and build a more compassionate world. Empathy should not stop at the species boundary. We can extend compassion to animals, recognizing their suffering and needs. By cultivating empathy for animals, we open ourselves to a deeper understanding of their experiences. Empathy is the foundation of compassion and the key to creating a world where all beings are treated with dignity and respect. Section 5, Beyond Cultural Norms. Cultural norms and traditions play a powerful role in shaping our values and beliefs, including our attitudes towards animals. What is considered acceptable treatment of animals can vary widely from culture to culture, influenced by factors such as religion, history, and economic systems. However, just because a practice is culturally accepted does not make it ethically justifiable. For example, in some cultures, dog meat consumption is considered a traditional practice. However, from an animal welfare perspective, there is no ethical justification for subjecting dogs to the suffering inherent in the meat trade. Dogs, like all sentient beings, deserve to be treated with compassion and respect, regardless of cultural norms. Similarly, the use of animals in bullfighting, rodeos, and other forms of entertainment is often defended as a cultural tradition. However, these traditions inflict unnecessary suffering on animals for the sake of human amusement. As our understanding of animal sentience and welfare evolves, it is imperative that we critically examine our cultural practices and reject those that perpetuate cruelty and exploitation. Ethical progress often requires challenging deeply ingrained cultural norms and beliefs. Protecting animals is not about imposing one culture's values on another. It's about upholding universal principles of compassion, justice, and respect for all living beings, regardless of species or cultural background. Section 6. Animals as individuals. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking about animals in abstract terms, as species, as populations, as statistics. But animals are not interchangeable units, they are individuals, each with their own unique personality, preferences, and capacity for experiencing the world. Just like humans, they form strong social bonds, experience a range of emotions, and possess an intrinsic will to live. Consider the story of Coco, the gorilla who learned to communicate using sign language. Coco's ability to express her thoughts and emotions, to form deep bonds with her human caregivers, and to mourn the loss of loved ones, shattered the perception of gorillas as unfeeling brutes. Coco's story, like countless others, reminds us that animals are not just biological machines, they are sentient individuals deserving of our respect and compassion. When we view animals as individuals, it becomes impossible to ignore their suffering or to justify treating them as mere commodities. We are forced to confront the ethical implications of our actions on a personal level, to acknowledge the unique beings whose lives we impact with our choices. This shift in perspective, from seeing animals as objects to recognizing them as individual subjects of moral consideration, is fundamental to fostering a more compassionate and just relationship with the animal kingdom. It's about recognizing the inherent worth of each animal life regardless of species and treating all creatures with the dignity and respect they deserve. Section 7. A question of justice. The fight for animal protection is ultimately a fight for justice, for the recognition of their rights, for the fair and humane treatment they deserve, and for an end to the systems of exploitation that perpetuate their suffering. Just as we strive for a more just and equitable world for all humans, so too should we extend that same sense of justice to the animal kingdom. The concept of justice is often associated with fairness, equity, and the protection of rights. It's about ensuring that all members of a society have equal opportunities, that their voices are heard, and that their basic needs are met. While the concept of animal rights is still evolving, at its core it's about extending this same sense of justice to non-human animals. Animals may not have the same rights as humans, but they deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. They have a right to a life free from unnecessary suffering, a right to live in their natural environment, and a right to express their natural behaviors. To deny these rights is to perpetuate a system of injustice that privileges one species over all others. The fight for animal justice is about challenging the status quo, about dismantling the systems of oppression that allow animal abuse to flourish, and about creating a world where compassion and empathy guide our interactions with all living beings. Our actions, their fate. Our choices impact animals profoundly. From food to clothes, our actions ripple through the animal kingdom. We can perpetuate suffering or be a force for change. Support industries that prioritize animal welfare. Choose a plant-based diet. Speak out against animal cruelty. Create a compassionate world for animals. Every act of kindness makes a difference. Let's be their voice and advocates. Section 1. Recognizing the signs. Is something wrong? Imagine walking through your neighborhood and noticing a dog chained up in a backyard, looking visibly thin with its ribs showing. Or perhaps you see a neighbor's cat constantly left outdoors without adequate shelter from the elements. These are just two examples of situations where animal abuse or neglect might be occurring, and recognizing the signs is the first step toward helping an animal in need. Animal abuse often hides in plain sight, but by being observant and aware of the signs, we can become more effective advocates for animals in our communities. Learning to recognize the red flags can be the difference between life and death for an animal suffering in silence. Some signs of abuse are physical and readily apparent, such as wounds, scars, emaciation, or limping. Other signs are behavioral, such as cowering in fear, excessive aggression, or an unwillingness to interact. Neglect, often less visible, might manifest as a lack of food, water, shelter, or proper veterinary care. It's important to remember that animals can't speak for themselves. They rely on us to be their voice, to recognize when something is wrong, and to take action on their behalf. By being vigilant and aware of the signs of abuse and neglect, we can become more effective guardians of their well-being. Section 2. Documenting the evidence, building a strong case. If you suspect animal abuse or neglect, it's crucial to document the situation thoroughly. This evidence can be invaluable when reporting the case to authorities, as it provides concrete details and supports your claims. Remember, your goal is to provide clear and convincing evidence that will compel action to protect the animal. Start by taking detailed notes of everything you witness. Record the date, time, location, and specific details of the abuse or neglect. Describe the animal's condition, its physical appearance, behavior, and any visible injuries. Note the living conditions, the presence or absence of food, water, shelter, and sanitation. If it's safe to do so, take photographs or videos of the animal and its surroundings. Visual evidence can be particularly powerful in conveying the severity of the situation. Be sure to capture images that clearly show the animal's condition, living conditions, and any evidence of abuse or neglect. If there are any witnesses, try to get their contact information in case their testimony is needed. The more evidence you can gather, the stronger your case will be when reporting the abuse to the appropriate authorities. Section 3. Trust your instincts. When in doubt, speak out. When it comes to animal welfare, it's always better to err on the side of caution. If you see something that seems wrong, even if you're not entirely sure, trust your instincts and report it. It's better to report a suspected case that turns out to be unfounded than to ignore potential abuse and allow an animal to continue suffering. Don't let fear, uncertainty, or a reluctance to get involved prevent you from speaking up for an animal in need. Remember, Animals are often unable to escape abusive situations on their own. They rely on compassionate individuals to recognize their suffering and take action on their behalf. While it's important to approach situations with sensitivity and avoid making accusations without evidence, it's equally important to remember that animal abuse is a serious issue with potentially devastating consequences. Your vigilance and willingness to report suspected cases can make a life-saving difference for an animal in need. Never underestimate the power of a single voice to create change. By speaking up for those who cannot speak for themselves, we can help create a world where animal abuse is no longer tolerated and where all creatures are treated with the respect and compassion they deserve. Section 4. Reporting animal abuse, your step-by-step guide. Reporting animal abuse or neglect is a crucial step in protecting animals in our communities. While it can feel daunting to navigate the process, remember that you're doing the right thing by speaking up for an animal in need. Your actions can make a significant difference in an animal's life. The first step is to gather all the necessary information, including the details of the abuse or neglect, the animal's location, and the owner's information if known. Having this information readily available will make the reporting process smoother and more efficient. Next, identify the appropriate authority to contact. This could be your local animal control agency, humane society, or law enforcement agency. Many organizations have dedicated hotlines or online reporting systems specifically for animal cruelty cases. When making your report, be clear, concise, and factual. Avoid exaggerating or sensationalizing the situation, as this can undermine your credibility. Stick to the facts, present the evidence you've gathered, and express your concerns about the animal's well-being. Section 5. Contacting the authorities: who to call, where to turn. Knowing who to contact in a suspected animal abuse or neglect case is essential for ensuring that the situation is addressed promptly and effectively. The specific agency to contact may vary depending on your location and the nature of the abuse, but there are several key resources available to help you navigate the process. Your local animal control agency is often the first line of defense for animals in distress. They're responsible for investigating reports of animal cruelty, enforcing animal welfare laws, and rescuing animals in need. You can typically find their contact information online or in your local phone directory. The American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, or ASPCA, is a national organization dedicated to protecting animals from cruelty. They have a comprehensive website with resources on recognizing and reporting animal abuse, as well as a national hotline that can connect you with local authorities. The Humane Society of the United States, or HSUS, is another national organization that works to protect animals. They offer a similar range of resources on animal cruelty, including information on state-specific animal welfare laws and reporting procedures. Remember, time is of the essence when an animal's well-being is at stake. Don't hesitate to contact the appropriate authorities and report suspected cases of animal abuse or neglect. Section 6. Navigating the system. What to expect. Reporting animal abuse or neglect can be a complex and emotionally challenging process. Understanding what to expect after you've made a report can help you feel more prepared and empowered to advocate for the animal's well-being. Once you've filed a report, the agency will typically conduct an investigation. This may involve visiting the animal's location, interviewing witnesses, and gathering evidence. The time frame for an investigation can vary depending on the severity of the case and the agency's resources. Be prepared to answer questions honestly and provide any information that might be helpful to the investigation. It's important to remain patient and persistent throughout the process, as it may take time for the authorities to take action. If the investigation finds evidence of abuse or neglect, the agency may issue citations, confiscate the animal, or pursue criminal charges against the owner. The outcome of a case depends on various factors, including the severity of the abuse, the strength of the evidence, and the laws in your jurisdiction. Section 7. The power of persistence. Don't give up. It's important to be prepared for the possibility that your initial report may not result in immediate action. Animal control agencies often face limited resources and high caseloads, which can lead to delays or challenges in addressing every report promptly. However, don't let this discourage you from advocating for the animal's well-being. Persistence is key in ensuring that animal abuse cases are taken seriously and that animals receive the protection they deserve. If you haven't heard back from the agency within a reasonable time frame, don't hesitate to follow up on your report. You can also reach out to other organizations for support, such as your local humane society or animal rescue groups. They may be able to provide guidance, resources, or even intervene on the animal's behalf. Remember, your voice matters. By remaining vigilant, persistent, and committed to speaking up for those who cannot speak for themselves, you can help create a world where animal abuse is no longer tolerated. Section 8. Creating a safer world beyond reporting. While reporting animal abuse is a crucial step in protecting animals, it's only one part of a larger solution. Creating a safer world for animals requires a multifaceted approach that addresses the root causes of abuse and fosters a culture of compassion and respect for all living creatures. One important step is to support stronger animal protection laws at the local, state, and national levels. These laws can help deter animal abuse, increase penalties for offenders, and provide greater protection for animals in need. Education is another powerful tool for preventing animal abuse. By teaching children and adults about animal welfare, responsible pet ownership, and the importance of treating animals with compassion, we can help create a more humane society. Supporting organizations that rescue, rehabilitate, and rehome animals is also essential. These organizations provide a vital safety net for animals in need, offering them a second chance at a happy and healthy life. Remember, creating a safer world for animals is a collective responsibility that requires the participation of individuals, communities, and governments. By working together, we can build a world where all creatures are treated with the dignity and respect they deserve. Every voice matters. Be the change. The fight against animal abuse may seem daunting, but it's important to remember that every voice, every action makes a difference. By choosing compassion over indifference, we can create ripple effects of change that extend far beyond our immediate surroundings. Never underestimate the power of your voice to inspire others, to raise awareness, and to advocate for change. By speaking up for animals, by sharing their stories, and by promoting kindness and empathy, you become part of a growing movement that is transforming the way we view and treat our fellow creatures. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Choose to adopt animals from shelters and rescues rather than supporting breeders or pet stores. Educate yourself about animal welfare issues and share your knowledge with others. Support organizations working to protect animals through your time, donations, or social media advocacy. Remember, the fight for animal welfare is a marathon, not a sprint. There will be challenges and setbacks along the way, but by staying informed, engaged, and committed to making a difference, we can create a brighter future for animals and build a world where all creatures are treated with the compassion and respect they deserve. Your guide to reporting animal cruelty. Witnessing animal abuse can be heart-wrenching, but your actions can make a difference. This guide will empower you to report animal cruelty effectively. Animal cruelty includes physical abuse, neglect, hoarding, dogfighting, and cockfighting. If you witness or suspect cruelty, act quickly. Your intervention could save an animal's life. This guide covers national and state-specific resources for handling cruelty cases. We'll discuss the reporting process, gathering evidence and advocating for animals. Be a voice for the voiceless. Together we can make a difference. National organizations, a helping hand across state lines. National organizations offer guidance, support, and a network of professionals dedicated to animal welfare. They have hotlines and online reporting systems for easy abuse reporting. The ASPCA provides resources, investigations, and advocacy nationwide. Their 24/7 hotline connects callers with trained professionals. The HSUS offers state-specific cruelty laws and reporting guidelines. Their online form allows detailed abuse reporting. These organizations bridge the gap between citizens and resources to combat cruelty. Their expertise and dedication make them invaluable allies. Together, we can fight animal abuse. Section 3, State by State, your local resources. Local resources are often best equipped to handle cruelty cases in your community. Your local animal control agency is the primary contact for reporting cruelty. They investigate reports, enforce ordinances, and rescue animals. Find their contact information online. Local humane societies or shelters can also be valuable. They may have their own investigators or hotlines. They provide guidance on reporting and support for rescued animals. Animal cruelty laws and procedures vary by state and county. Familiarize yourself with local regulations for effective reporting. Act swiftly to protect animals in your community. Section 4. Navigating the system tips for effective reporting. Reporting cruelty is commendable but can be overwhelming. Approach the process strategically with clear, concise information. Remain calm and provide a factual account. Provide specific details about the location, owner, and abuse. Note the date, time, and duration of the incident. Accurate information helps prioritize cases. Your report can lead to meaningful action. Be a credible and effective advocate for animals. Section 5. Understanding the law. Animal cruelty defined. Animal cruelty laws aim to protect animals from suffering and hold abusers accountable. Understanding your state's legal definitions strengthens your report. Cruelty includes active, intentional harm and passive neglect categories. Active cruelty involves violence like beating or torturing. Passive cruelty is the failure to provide basic necessities. Neglect can lead to prolonged suffering and death. Familiarize yourself with local laws to report and advocate effectively. Section 6. The power of evidence, making your case. Compelling evidence strengthens your report and prompts swift action. Document the situation thoroughly if it's safe. Take clear photos or videos of the animal and its environment. Capture injuries, malnutrition, and living conditions. Prioritize your safety and avoid confronting the abuser. Gather evidence discreetly and report to authorities. Your documentation can be crucial for the investigation. Section 7. Beyond reporting, supporting animal welfare. Reporting cruelty is vital, but support shouldn't stop there. Support animal welfare organizations and advocate for stronger laws. Donate time or resources to local shelters or rescues. These organizations rely on community generosity. Support legislation that strengthens cruelty laws and penalties. Contact representatives to prioritize animal welfare. Creating a humane world requires collective effort. Together, we can build a compassionate future for animals. Section 8. Your community, a network of support. Reporting cruelty can be draining, but you're not alone. Connect with local animal welfare groups and attend events. Share experiences and learn from others. Your voice matters in creating a humane world. Speak up for animals and educate others. Community support amplifies your impact. Together, we can ensure animals receive care and protection, build a network of support to fight cruelty. Section 9. Creating a humane future, a vision of compassion. The fight against cruelty is about fostering compassion and empathy. Animals should be seen as sentient beings deserving respect. This vision requires a shift in our collective consciousness. Recognize our responsibility to protect the vulnerable. Teach children about animal welfare and support protective legislation. Every act of kindness brings us closer to this vision. Work together to create a world where all creatures live in peace. Section 1. Reflections on our shared journey. Reflect on the significance of animal welfare. Recognize the vital role animals play in our ecosystems, confront the uncomfortable truth of animal abuse and exploitation, explore the horrors of factory farms, puppy mills, and wildlife trade. Discover the dedication of individuals and organizations fighting for animals. Learn that individual actions can create ripples of change. Ignite a spark of compassion within each of us. The knowledge gained is a call to action. Become ambassadors for animal welfare. Together, we can create a brighter future for animals. The power of one, multiplied. Individual actions can make a significant difference. Transformative change often starts with one person. Jane Goodall and Temple Grandin are examples of impactful individuals. Driven by empathy, they made a difference for countless animals. Each of us can be that spark for change. Make conscious consumer choices and support welfare organizations. Speak up against cruelty and injustice. You don't need to be famous to make a difference. Every kind action contributes to a compassionate world. Inspire others to join the movement for animal welfare. Embracing compassion, a world transformed. Imagine a world where animals are respected and protected. Replace factory farms with sustainable practices. Eradicate the illegal wildlife trade. Strive for a future reflecting kindness and justice. Embrace compassion as a guiding principle. Challenge the status quo and speak up against cruelty. Make conscious choices aligned with our values. Recognize our responsibility as stewards of the natural world. Create a world where animal well-being is integral to our ethics. Your legacy, a kinder world for all creatures. Consider the legacy we want to leave for future generations. Choose compassion over convenience and profit. Spark a movement of change for animal protection. Shape a world where animals are valued and respected. Inspire future generations with our transformation. Leave a legacy of kindness and protection for animals. Your voice and actions build a compassionate world. Create a legacy that inspires generations to come. Join the movement, Our Voices United for Animals. The fight for animal welfare is not a solitary pursuit. It's a global movement fueled by the passion, dedication, and unwavering compassion of countless individuals, organizations, and communities working together towards a common goal. A world where all animals are treated with dignity, respect, and love. This is a call to action, an invitation to join the ranks of those who refuse to accept animal cruelty and exploitation as inevitable. Whether you're a seasoned activist or just beginning to explore the world of animal welfare, there's a place for you in this movement. Your voice, your skills, your passion, all are needed to create lasting change. Connect with local animal shelters and rescue organizations, volunteer your time, donate resources, and use your voice to advocate for stronger animal protection laws. Share what you've learned with your friends, family, and community, inspiring them to join the movement for a more compassionate world. Together, our voices united, we can be the change we wish to see in the world. Let's create a chorus of compassion that resonates across the globe, a chorus so powerful that it drowns out the voices of cruelty and indifference, paving the way for a brighter future for all creatures. Join the movement today and be a part of the